Amara's lungs burned as she sprinted down the marble hallway of Yongsan International Academy. Behind her, 5 pairs of designer shoes thundered against the polished floor. She could hear them gaining on her. "You can't run forever, transfer student," a voice echoed in perfect English. She clutched her backpack tighter and ducked into the east wing. A mistake. The hallway ended in a dead end, floor-to-ceiling windows overlooking the Seoul skyline. Amara spun around, her dark brown eyes wide with fear as 5 students in pristine black uniforms blocked her only exit. The leader, a girl with razor-sharp bob and cold eyes, stepped forward. A silver pin gleamed on her collar, 3 intertwined dragons. 48 hours, she said, her voice silk over steel. That's how long you've been here. And you've already broken 3 rules. She tilted her head. Nobody breaks our rules and stays. Amara's hands trembled. How had everything gone so wrong so fast? Wait. Amara whispered. I don't even know what I did. The girl smiled, a smile that promised nothing good. Let me enlighten you. 3 days before this nightmare began, Amara Thompson stood in front of her new school with hope in her heart and excitement in her chest. The 17-year-old from Atlanta, Georgia, had just moved to Seoul with her mother, a military contractor stationed at Yongsan Garrison. Yongsan International Academy rose before her like a palace. Glass, steel, and traditional Korean architecture blended into something that screamed money. Luxury cars lined the circular driveway, Mercedes, BMWs, even a Bentley. Students in crisp uniforms moved in tight groups, speaking in hushed Korean. Amara adjusted her natural hair, a beautiful crown of coils that drew immediate stares. In her denim jacket and sneakers, she stood out like a sunflower in a field of roses. This is fine, she muttered to herself. New school, new country, new Amara. What she didn't know was that Yongsan International Academy wasn't just any school. It was a pressure cooker where Seoul's most powerful families sent their children. Families with connections to politics, business, and things far darker. Things that operated in shadows. Things like organized crime. Amara pushed through the heavy entrance doors. The lobby took her breath away, marble floors, crystal chandeliers, and a massive portrait of the school's founder. Students moved like they owned the place, because in a way, they did. She approached the front desk where an elderly woman sat typing. Excuse me, I'm a new transfer student. Amara Thompson? The woman looked up, did a visible double-take at seeing a black girl, then quickly masked her surprise with a polite smile. Ah yes, the American. Your classroom is 3B, 3rd floor. She handed Amara a schedule and a map. Try not to get lost. As Amara walked toward the stairs, she noticed something odd. Students were divided into distinct groups, each marked by subtle differences in their uniforms. Some had silver pins, others gold, some had colored ties. They stayed separate, like oil and water. She also noticed every single person staring at her. In a school of 800 students, Amara was the only black person. The only one who looked like her. The only one who stood out without trying. And in a place where invisibility meant survival, standing out was dangerous. Amara found classroom 3B. Through the door window, she saw students already seated, talking quietly. She took a breath and walked in. The room fell silent. 20 pairs of eyes locked onto her. Some curious. Some hostile. Some calculating. Hi, Amara said, her voice smaller than she intended. I'm the new transfer. You must be Amara Thompson. A male voice, smooth and controlled. A tall boy stood from the back row. His uniform was immaculate, his black hair styled perfectly. But it was his eyes that made Amara's stomach flip. Dark, intelligent, and completely unreadable. A gold pin shaped like a phoenix gleamed on his collar. I'm Minyoon Park, student council president. He gestured to an empty seat near the middle. You can sit there. Thanks, Amara said, relieved someone was being friendly. She walked to the seat and sat down, dropping her backpack. The temperature in the room seemed to drop 10 degrees. Students exchanged glances, some shocked, some amused, some angry. A girl directly behind her leaned forward. You might want to move, she whispered in accented English. Why? Amara whispered back. That seat. The classroom door slammed open. A girl strode in like she owned the air itself. Designer uniform, designer bag, designer everything. Her hair fell in a perfect curtain of black silk. But it was the 3 silver dragon pins on her collar that made every student in the room sit up straighter. This was Hana Choi. And Amara was sitting in her seat. You. Hana's voice could have frozen fire. She stood in front of Amara's desk, looking down with disgust. Move. Amara's heart hammered. Every instinct screamed danger, but her Atlanta pride wouldn't let her be pushed around on day 1. The teacher told me I could sit here, Amara said, keeping her voice steady. The room gasped. Actual gasps. Hana's eyes narrowed. I don't think you understand how things work here. She leaned down, her voice dropping to a whisper only Amara could hear. That seat belongs to me. This row belongs to me. And if you don't move in the next 5 seconds, you'll learn a very painful lesson about respect. Amara looked into those cold eyes and saw something that terrified her. Someone who had never heard the word no in her entire life. Is there a problem, ladies? The teacher had arrived, a middle-aged man with tired eyes who clearly wanted no drama. Hana straightened immediately, her expression transforming into perfect politeness. No problem, Sien Sengnam. Just welcoming our new transfer student. She smiled at Amara, a smile that promised retribution, and moved to a seat in the back. 4 other students immediately joined her, forming a protective circle. In that moment, without knowing it, Amara had just made the biggest mistake of her life. She had challenged Hana Choi, daughter of one of Seoul's most powerful businessmen. A man whose legitimate companies were just the surface of a far darker empire. And in Yongsan International Academy, the Choi family didn't just have influence. They had absolute power. By lunch, Amara knew something was very wrong. Students avoided her in the hallways. When she tried to join a table in the cafeteria, girls grabbed their trays and moved. The few who made eye contact looked at her with pity. She ended up sitting alone, pushing rice around her tray, fighting the sting of tears. Mind if I sit? Amara looked up. It was the girl who'd tried to warn her in class, petite, with dyed brown hair and nervous energy. Please, Amara said, grateful for any company. The girl sat quickly, keeping her voice low. Amivo. And you need to leave this school. What? I just got here. Exactly. Which means you still can. Jiwoo glanced around nervously. That seat you took? It's Hana Choi's seat. Has been since freshman year. And Hana doesn't forgive disrespect. It's just a seat. Nothing here is just anything. Yivo leaned closer. This school, it's not normal. The families who send their kids here? They're connected to some serious people. Yakuza. Triads. Korean gangs. This place is where they groom the next generation. Amara's blood went cold. You're joking. Do I look like I'm joking? Jiwoo's eyes were dead serious. There are rules here. Unspoken rules. Territories. Hierarchies. The pins on uniforms? They indicate family status. Gold pins, political families. Silver pins, organized crime families. No pins, normal people like me who keep their heads down and survive. Amara touched her collar. No pin. Hana has 3 dragon pins, Jiwoo continued. That means her family is top tier. And you just embarrassed her in front of everyone. I didn't mean to. Doesn't matter. You're marked now. They'll give you 48 hours to leave voluntarily. If you don't. Jiwoo stood up, grabbing her tray. Find a way out. Transfer. Drop out. Fake sick. Whatever. Just don't be here in 2 days. She walked away, leaving Amara alone again. 48 hours. 2 days to escape or face consequences Amara couldn't even imagine. But Amara Thompson hadn't survived Atlanta public schools, hadn't navigated being the only black girl in multiple spaces, hadn't moved across the world just to run from some rich, mean girl. She decided to stay, to prove she belonged. It was a decision she'd soon regret. Amara's locker was defaced. Go home spray-painted in English. Her textbooks disappeared from her classroom. When she asked the teacher, he pretended not to hear her. Someone accidentally spilled coffee on her in the hallway. 3 times. Her mother called from work. Honey, did you get in trouble? The school called me. They said you're having adjustment issues. Mom, I've fine. They suggested a transfer might be better for you. Amara's jaw clenched. I'm not transferring. I didn't do anything wrong. But she knew the pressure was just beginning. Amara stayed late in the library, trying to catch up on work after losing her textbooks. The sun had set, and the building was nearly empty. She heard footsteps. Looking up, she saw Minjun Park, the student council president, walking toward her table. He sat down without asking. You should leave, he said simply. Not you too. I'm trying to help you. His voice was calm but urgent. Hana's family doesn't play games. Neither does mine. He touched his gold phoenix pin. My father is a prosecutor. I know what these families are capable of. Then why don't you do something about it? Minjun's laugh was bitter. Because I want to survive graduation. Same reason everyone keeps their heads down. He leaned forward. You seem nice. You don't deserve what's coming. So please, transfer out. Tomorrow. What if I can't? Amara asked. What if my family can't afford to keep moving me around? Minjun stood up. Then pray Hana gets bored of you quickly. He walked away, leaving Amara alone in the dimming library. But Hana Choi never got bored. She got even. Amara received a note in her locker written in perfect English. Rooftop. After school. Come alone if you want this to end peacefully. Asterisk. It wasn't signed, but Amara knew who sent it. Every logical cell in her brain screamed not to go. This was a trap. An obvious trap. But she was tired. Tired of the stares, the whispers, the isolation. If confronting Hana face to face would end this, she'd do it. The rooftop was empty when Amara arrived. Seoul sprawled beneath her. Millions of lights beginning to glow in the twilight. The wind whipped her jacket. You came. Amara spoon. Hana emerged from behind a rooftop storage unit, flanked by 4 other students, all wearing silver dragon pins. They formed a semicircle, blocking the exit. I want to end this, Amara said, keeping her voice firm despite her racing heart. Tell me what I need to do, and I'll do it. Hana laughed, a cold, mirthless sound. You think apologizing will fix this? You disrespected me. In front of everyone. I didn't know it was your seat. Ignorance isn't an excuse. Hana stepped closer. In Seoul, respect is everything. Hierarchy is everything. You can't just walk in here with your American attitude and think the rules don't apply to you. Then teach me the rules. Amara's frustration boiled over. I'm not trying to challenge anyone. I just want to go to school. Too late for that. Hana nodded to her friends. 2 of them grabbed Amara's arms before she could react. What are you? Let me go. Hana pulled out her phone. You're going to learn what happens when you disrespect the wrong people. She started filming. Tell the camera you're sorry. That you know your place. That you'll transfer schools by Monday. No. Hana's smile vanished. Say it. Make me. Hana stepped forward, her hand raised. I wouldn't do that if I were you. Everyone froze. Minjun Park stood in the rooftop doorway, his phone out and recording. Behind him stood Jiwoo and 3 other students. Hello, Hana. Minjun said calmly. Interesting place for a meeting. Very. Isolated. Perfect for bullying, some might say. Hana's eyes narrowed. This doesn't concern you, Minjun. Actually it does. See, assaulting students on camera? That's expulsion. Even for a Choi. He held up his phone. And I've got everything recorded. The threats. The physical intimidation. All of it. You wouldn't dare send that to anyone. Try me. Minjun's voice turned steel. Your family has power. So does mine. The difference? My father prosecutes people. Including people in your father's circles. For a long moment, nobody moved. Then Hana laughed. Fine. You win this round. She gestured, and her friends released Amara. But this isn't over, transfer student. You've made enemies you can't even comprehend. She walked past Minjun, her crew following. At the doorway, she paused. 48 hours are up. You chose to stay. Live with that choice. They disappeared down the stairs. Amara's legs nearly gave out. Jiwoo rushed over, steadying her. Are you okay? I think so. Amara looked at Minjun. Why did you help me? Minjun pocketed his phone. Because someone should. And because. He hesitated. Because I'm tired of watching people get crushed by this system. In that moment something shifted. Amara had survived her 48 hours. But more than that, she'd found something rare in Yongsan International Academy. Allies. The next week was different. Word spread about the rooftop confrontation. About Minjun standing up to Hana Choi. About the transfer student who wouldn't back down. Students didn't avoid Amara anymore. Some even nodded in the hallways. Jiwoo introduced her to a small group of unpinned students. Kids from normal families who'd learned to navigate the school's dangerous waters. Hana still glared from across rooms, but she kept her distance. The video Minjun had recorded was insurance. Mutually assured destruction if either side pushed too far. Amara sat in the cafeteria with Jiwoo and 3 other students, actually laughing. Minjun passed by their table. Mind if I sit? Only if you don't mind slumming it with the unpinned kids, Amara joked. He sat down, setting his tray next to hers. I think I can handle it. As they ate and talked, Amara looked around the cafeteria. She still stood out. She was still the only black girl in a sea of Korean students. Still navigating a world of unspoken rules and dangerous hierarchies. But she wasn't alone anymore. Amara's first 48 hours at Yongsan International Academy had been a nightmare. She'd been targeted, threatened, and almost broken. But she'd also learned something powerful. Standing your ground. Even when you're scared. Even when you're different. Even when every odd is against you, that means something. She'd learned that allies could come from unexpected places. And she'd learned that sometimes, the bravest thing you can do is simply refuse to disappear. Later that week, Amara passed Hana in the hallway. They locked eyes. Hana didn't smile. Didn't acknowledge her. But she stepped aside. A tiny gesture that spoke volumes. A grudging respect for the girl who wouldn't break. Amara walked past, head high, natural hair magnificent, knowing that she'd earned her place in this school not by fitting in, but by standing out. By surviving. By refusing to run. Would Amara and Hana ever be friends? Probably not. Would the school's dangerous undercurrents ever truly change? Unlikely. But Amara Thompson had done something nobody expected. She'd lasted more than 48 hours at Korean Mafia High School. And she wasn't going anywhere. So what do you think? Could you survive 48 hours at a school like Yongsan International Academy? Would you have stood your ground like Amara? Or would you have transferred out when you had the chance? Drop your thoughts in the comments below. I read every single one. And if you enjoyed this story and want to see more Afro-Korean tales, stories about culture clash, identity, survival, and everything in between, hit that subscribe button and turn on notifications so you never miss an upload. ****. This channel is all about exploring the unique intersection of Black and Korean cultures through storytelling that keeps you on the edge of your seat. Give this video a like if you were rooting for Amara ***, and share it with someone who loves a good underdog story. Want to see what happens next in Amara's journey at Yongsan Academy? Let me know in the comments, and I might just make it a series. Remember, stay bold, stay proud, and never let anyone make you feel like you don't belong. I'll see you in the next story.